Hey hoes, and welcome back to another episode of Morning Cup of H.O.E podcast. I'm Imani, your host and main hoe, here to help you on this journey of finding your purpose, getting your shit together, and living the life you want. Pour up your morning cup of whatever you're sipping on, get ready to unleash your inner hoe, and let's get into this episode. So hoes, I didn't really have a topic today, but I definitely wanted to talk to y'all hoes about the podcast and kind of where we're going from here. But before I do that, I just wanted to talk to y'all about something that kind of came up in my life. And I wanted to start off by saying, be who you are and live for yourself, no matter what other people think about you, because that really just came up in my life. I'll even say today, because last night I dyed my hair and the color that I got is not the color that I was going for, and the color isn't bad, but when I kept looking at it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I already thought I didn't know how to feel about it. But then one thing that kept going into my mind was, oh my gosh, like what are other people gonna think when they see it? And even when we went out today, we had to go to the store. I'm like, I'm not getting out the car because I don't want people to see it. Like I look like Chucky, and because I was going for like a copper look and my hair came out, I feel like it looks like orange, like really like Chucky orange versus an actual copper. So I was feeling really self-conscious about my hair and just worrying about what other people were going to think about me when I went out. It was like I wasn't even necessarily concerned about how I felt about it. It was really that other people were going to judge me, other people were going to think it was ugly and things like that. And after I sat back and kind of thought about it, and probably I got that clarity because now I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, okay, it's really not that bad. It's of course brighter than I wanted, but it's really not that bad. But now that I'm like okay with it, I kind of got that clarity of, Imani, why were you so concerned about what other people were going to think about you? Why were you so concerned that people were going to judge you? Because at the end of the day, if people don't like something that I do, as long as I like it, like that should be enough for me. That should be fine. Like I shouldn't be concerned and feel like my mind is going to change if other people don't like something that I do. But I realized in my life I do that so much, where if there's something that I genuinely like and somebody that I'm close with tells me like, oh, that's not cool, or oh, I don't like it, or whatever the case may be, if it's something that they say that goes against me, a lot of times I'll just be like, oh my gosh, like I'll start to think like maybe that's not cool. Maybe it's, maybe I shouldn't like it or this or that. And I think I do that so many times in life. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. If you're ever in that situation in life where you feel like you were proud about something that you did, or you felt confident in something that you did, and then somebody comes and they don't feel like, what you did, like your hair is not cute enough, or what you did isn't your best, or whatever the case may be, don't let anyone tell you that anything about your life isn't good enough. If you're confident in yourself and you believe that whatever the case may be, so going into like your outfit's cute or your hair is cute or anything like that, if you're confident in it, don't let anybody change your mind, because you have to live this life for you. If you start to let other people, dictate how you feel, dictate what you do with your life, you're never going to live a good life. You're never going to be proud about what you do every single day. So I really just wanted to say that quickly, because I have to say this to myself, and obviously it's always easier said than done. Like, I know next time something like this happens, if I go and my mom is like, ooh, I don't like that, like it's probably still going to make me kind of second guess myself. Or if my husband or somebody says, they don't like something that I do, I am going to second guess myself. I am going to be like, oh my gosh, maybe it's not cute. Maybe I shouldn't like it, whatever the case may be. But I really have to stand in my conviction and believe that what I originally thought is the truth. Like, it doesn't matter if anybody else likes it. What I do with my body, what I do with my hair, what I do with my clothes, that's on me, and I just have to like it, and that's all that matters. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say as far as that. Just be confident in yourself. So now we'll actually talk about what this episode is about, which is about, where we're going with this podcast and what we're doing for the next step. All right, host. So I know last week was kind of a random episode where I was just kind of chatting with y'all, and I really want this episode to be the same thing. So I was going to pick a topic, but then I kind of just wanted to come talk to y'all and kind of continue on what I was talking about last episode about where I want this podcast to go. So I was thinking that I was going to pick a topic and kind of come and talk to y'all about it. But I really think that I just need to take a step back and get reorganized. So I think I've said it a few times when I first started the podcast. Like, obviously I was super excited and I wanted to make sure I was over prepared before I got started. So I had episodes piled up so that it was automatically just going out every week. Now I feel like I've gotten to the point when I'm a little bit behind and I'm recording and editing that same week, and it really gets overwhelming. And I don't know if y'all know, but I get overwhelmed very easily. Like, if you know me, and specifically like my husband, my mom, like they know that I get overwhelmed very easily, and I'm trying to avoid doing that to myself because the type of person I am is when I get overwhelmed, I also shut down. So what I'm trying to avoid is getting overwhelmed to the point that I'm just like, I'm not going to do this podcast anymore. Like, it's not worth it. I really don't want to get to that point. So what I'm trying to do right now is take a step back, get back to that point where I first started, where I was super excited, where I can pile up some episodes. And I think that's going to be the way that I put out the best content, is if I take some time to do that. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do here is maybe either this episode or one more episode. That's going to be the last episode for now. Obviously, I'm not going to take like a super long break, but I'm thinking maybe giving myself like 2 weeks. So I'll start like season 2 when I come back and breaking it up. I initially thought about doing seasons when I started. Like, my husband was saying, yeah, that's probably a good idea, but I didn't think I wanted to do that. I was like, no, I can just, push out episodes every single week. No worries. I don't need a break. But I think now that I'm actually in it and doing it every week, I do realize how much work it is, how time consuming it is to record and edit episodes. And I would rather take a little bit of a break rather than putting out content that I don't think y'all are going to want to listen to and that I'm not proud about. Because at the end of the day, if I put out stuff that y'all don't want to listen to, y'all aren't going to come back for another episode. Y'all going to be like, all right, she putting out this bullshit at this point. Like, she don't even care. Like, I'm not coming back. I'm not listening to anything else. And I definitely want to prevent that. I want to make sure that every single time that I'm putting out content, putting out an episode, it's good. So I think I really want to take a step back, like I said, to build up some episodes. And that's going to include not just having episodes that I have recorded, but also having episodes when I have guests on. Like, I spoke about bringing guests on in the last episode, and I'm actually really excited because since that last episode, I've actually met with 2 people so far. We've kind of talked about what the episode is going to be about and kind of brainstormed, and next week we're actually recording those episodes. So I'm really excited about having guests on here, having different perspectives, having different people that y'all can hear from and learn from. So I'm thinking that if I take maybe 2 weeks or so off and then come back, at that time, I'll be able to put out that best content, and I'll have automatically really good content to give to y'all. And I think that's what I really want to do. So I hope this is not like y'all are going to be like, oh my gosh, she's taking a long time off. Like, I'm never coming back to listen to her. But I'm thinking 2 weeks should be good enough for me to do that, to kind of stack up some content. And then at the same time, I also said that I wanted to be able to focus on marketing the podcast, because I really want to make sure that I'm getting it out there. And I don't think that at this point it's getting out there the way that I want it to, because I haven't been posting it everywhere. I started off posting on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, like all of that, but I've gotten to the point where I haven't been consistently posting. And I know that if I want people to be able to find the podcast and hear about it, I have to put it out there. I have to post it. I was actually talking to 2 of my friends today, and turns out they didn't even realize that I had a podcast. And that's just unacceptable on my part, because it's just like, I need to be telling people about this podcast. I need to be marketing it everywhere. So the fact that people that I actually talked to didn't know that I have a podcast, like, that just doesn't seem right to me. So I think in this break that I take, which, like I said, I think is going to be like 2 weeks, I think that's going to be some time where I really build up some content as far as like recording episodes, but then also building up content as far as like things to post on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff. And I think the reason that I haven't done it is, for one, I just don't really know where to start with it. Like, I've never really been I won't even say I've never been a social media person, but I haven't really used social media heavy since like 2013, 2014. Like, as of right now, I'm one of those people that just kind of scroll, like people post, but I never post anything on my own. So the thought of even starting to post stuff, I just didn't even know where to start. Like, I didn't even know these platforms had like all these different capabilities. So I originally had my husband helping me, but obviously he's not going to want to make every single post that I have, or, you know, have to run through every single thing with me every single time I want to post. So I think it's important for me to take some time to learn what the best content to post is, how to make this content on my own and things like that, so that when I come back, I can do exactly the things that I've been saying that I'm doing. Because I think the fact that I keep, you know, recording episodes, and like I said, I've been behind, I'm doing it week by week. The fact that I'm doing that, I think that's kind of been my excuse of not doing the social media stuff, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to record an episode, I have to edit, like that's my priority, so I don't have time to do all this. Which in reality, like, I could make time for it, but it's just like, once again, going back to the fact that I feel overwhelmed, and when I feel overwhelmed, I start to avoid. So I've been avoiding it because it's like, I don't know where to start, so I'm just not going to do it at all. And that's a terrible trait, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a different episode, like kind of going into being overwhelmed and how people react. And maybe I'll bring on a guest for that, because obviously I've told y'all how I feel about it multiple times, but I really want to be able to bring different perspectives in, and maybe somebody that can even help us work through that. But yeah, so going back to that, I just really feel like I'm going to take a break for now. And then just come back with better content. And I'm going to try to do it in 2 weeks. So what is it? It's about to be the beginning of June. So the middle of June, we're going to come back. We're going to put out more episodes. We're going to be better than ever. I'm going to have guests on here. You're going to see more content on here. It's just going to be an overall better podcast, because I do want to make sure that, for one, I'm putting it out there for more people to see, more people to hear, and then also just providing the people that are already listening with great episodes every single time. Like, I don't want to ever feel like there's an episode that I'm not 100% confident about, but because I don't have something else recorded, I have to put it out. I never want to do that. So at this point, I want to say thank y'all so much for coming and chatting with me. Like, once again, this is just one of those random chats, and I think I was kind of anxious to talk about the fact that I'm gonna stop, because I think it's one of those things that when I started, I committed to saying I was gonna do it every week, and that was before I understood really what it took. So the fact that I'm now saying I need a break and taking time off, it kind of made me feel like I was failing at something, and I'm obviously trying to talk myself out of that. Like, Imani, you're not failing. You're doing what's best for your podcast to make sure that you continue to grow, and I have to do that for myself. So hopefully nobody is upset about that, because I have to do it. The reason I'm always so transparent about telling y'all how I feel in different scenarios is because I know that I'm not the only person out there that feels this way. And I think it took me a long time to realize that. I think I told y'all kind of at the beginning of me starting this podcast, the fact that one of the reasons that I started this podcast is because I wanted people to know that they aren't alone in their feelings. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling sad, like whatever scenario you're going through and you're feeling, there's other people out there that may feel the same way that you're feeling. Like, you don't have to feel alone. And I think one of the biggest things that I wanted to do with this podcast is just to normalize talking about it, because people don't talk about their emotions like they should. People don't feel comfortable when they're going through something, just going to a friend and talking about it. And I really noticed that when I started this podcast, because people started coming to me like, oh my gosh, Imani, I feel the same way that you feel. And it's weird because it's people that I talk to that we never had this conversation about. So it's so important to normalize that. So that's why every single time I'm feeling a certain way with this podcast, I'm gonna tell y'all, and I want to also give y'all permission to do the same. Feel comfortable telling somebody about it if you need to voice it, whether that's to a friend, a family member, or even going to therapy, because it's okay to go to therapy, which I've said so many times. But I just want you to give yourself permission to feel those feelings. And if you need to take a step back from something that you're doing, like, I want to give you permission to do that, because sometimes I feel like we think we need permission from somebody to do it, which in reality, you don't. give yourself permission to do it. But if you feel like you do need that permission, I want to be the person to give you that, because you don't want to get overwhelmed to the point where you can't do anything, because then you're not good for anybody, including yourself. So you want to stop it before it gets to that point. Take time to care for yourself. Take time to reset and then get going, because you're no good to no one if you're not in a good place for yourself. So that's where I wanted to end it, ho. So thank you so much for coming back to another episode of Morning Cup of H.O.E. podcast. Like I said, for the next 2 weeks, we are not going to have any posts. So it's only 2 episodes we're going to be missing. But in the meantime, make sure you're streaming the old episodes, getting a refresher, making sure that you're leaving reviews so that we can see more people. Share the content with your family, with your friends. Tell the hoes that they need to be listening. So when we come back and we're better, they're here for the new content. They're here for the new guests. They're here to see my posts on social media. We definitely want those additional people to come and join this community of our hoes. So I just want to say thank y'all so much for supporting me and coming back to this episode. I will see y'all hoes in 2 weeks. Peace.